Hey guys, Ernie here and welcome to the Paleo Hiker MD channel. The very first alcohol stove that I got with a Trangia spirit burner many years ago, 15 years probably plus. And since then I have looked at countless, tons, probably over 50 pot stand options for the Trangia. One of the things about the Trangia is you have to have a pot stand to use it. So why would I look at another pot stand? I mean, duh. I've mentioned it quite a bit here on the channel, but my favorite types of stoves are alcohol stoves. I have my shop outside. Sometimes on the weekends I'll get up, I'll make some coffee in the kitchen, everybody's still asleep, and I'll make some coffee, and I love using alcohol stoves. Why? The biggest reason I love them in general is they're quiet. They're just quiet. As I've gotten older, noises and sounds, they bug me, they aggravate me. They're just all this noise. It's constant noise. This world is constant noise, and I love quiet. My wife and I can just sit on the couch, quiet, and sit there for an hour. She hears so much at work. I hear so much at work. Quiet is so good. Anyway, I love silence, and that's why I love alcohol stoves. So let's take a look at this stove stand and pair it up with a couple of stoves. All right, guys, this is the Camping Moon Mini Alcohol Stove Cross Stand. What's interesting is that this came with a stove. I did not order it, I thought, with a stove. I just ordered the cross stand, which is this right here. Folded, it is 3.5 by 3.3. If we unfold it, which is basically just like this, it is 3.5 by 5.9. It weighs 30.5 ounces. It's made out of stainless steel, made in China. Costs $15. $15 with this, which is pretty freaking impressive, to be honest with you guys. We're just going to take this off, show you guys how it goes in. You have to keep it closed like this, and you can see this little notch. Basically, your stove's going to go in that little notch, and then you can pull this around, and you've got your stove captive in there. How about that? Pretty freaking cool. Like I said, I didn't even realize that this Trangia clone came with it. It'll hold a regular Trangia as well. Very straightforward design. You can see how the stove slides in there. So you get this, you slide it into those little slots. Very, very easy. Look at this thing, guys. That is a really nice stand. Just for fun, we're going to boil water both with this stove and with the original Trangia. This is more of a battle of the stoves, I guess, but you'll be able to see what the stand looks like with either one and whether or not one works better. All these types of stoves are going to have a preference for how far from the top of the stove to the bottom of the pot it favors. It's going to have its efficiency kind of sweet spot. I can tell you over time, these types of stoves that are the Trangia clones, they take longer to bloom than the original Trangia. They don't burn for as long, and they don't bring water to a boil as quickly. But they work. I mean, that's the bottom line. They still work. They will bring 2 cups of water to a boil with 1 ounce of fuel every single time, just not as efficiently as the Trangia. Let's go ahead and boil some water. How about that for a pretty cool looking stove stand? $15 with the stove. Hard to beat that. You can always pick up an extra Trangia clone if you want to for 15 bucks and use this with your original Trangia if you want. So we'll take a look at the flame pattern, some nice shots of this thing, and then we'll boil some water. review that real quick with the classic Trangia. It took 9 minutes, 45 seconds. It burnt for 15 minutes, 3 seconds. I spared y'all the details on how long it burned for. As far as the clone that this came with, it boiled in a reasonable 11 minutes, 10 seconds, and it burned for about 14 minutes, right under 13 minutes, 57 seconds, I think. So pretty similar. Both were with 1 ounce of fuel. That's not uncommon. Sometimes these clones actually burn for longer than the Trangia, not this time, but that's because they take up to 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes to fully bloom. So that whole first 2 minutes, it's barely using any fuel, and then it starts to go. The Trangia kicks off pretty darn quickly. But the star of this show, and the reason I bought it, and I mentioned it, but I'll say it again, I did not know it came with a stove. I was buying just the stand. I paid $15 to get it was just the stand. And I look back and I think, well, that was a lot of money to spend for a stand. But then I think, well, that's not that much money at all to spend for a stand and a stove. Anyway, let's talk pros and cons of the stand. As far as pros go, it's cheap. It folds very flat. It's stainless steel, very sturdy, pretty wide base. It'll hold quite a bit of weight. It also fits any Trangia-like stove. Now, there are cons with this product, like all products. It's single use, meaning that it really only fits a Trangia type stove. It's going to be hard to put a different type of stove into this. So you need to know exactly what you're dealing with. It's also only a stand for an alcohol stove, for a Trangia type stove. You can't use it with solid fuel. You can't use it, obviously, with wood or with any kind of a gas stove. It also gives you absolutely no wind protection. And when you're dealing with a alcohol stove, you have to consider wind protection. It's very, very important because the wind, any wind, the air conditioning vent from across the house can affect an alcohol stove. It's pretty amazing how susceptible they are. So it's something to think about. It's a great stand, but you need to think about wind protection. Overall, it's a great pot stand. I think it's a great price, $15. I think it's well designed. I think the way that the stove slips in there and holds it securely so you're not going to have the stove flip-flopping around or causing any problems. I think that's a really big deal. If you're looking for a single-use stove, for a single type of stove, this is a great, great product. All that said, alcohol stoves, like we talked about, they're very susceptible to the wind. So if you're going to get one stand, I would suggest you get one that integrates some protection from the wind. Think of like the Evernew DX stand. It works with the titanium Evernew burner. It's more expensive. You can buy the whole kit for maybe $50, $60, but it completely protects your stove from the wind, and it makes a huge, huge difference. Again, there's nothing wrong with this product. It works very, very well, but the point of this channel is to educate you on the different options you have for gear. And if you're gonna use this, you got to carry some wind protection, and that's fine. If you use this inside a lot or in very calm conditions, perfect. If you're going to use it outdoors and you want to use an alcohol stove, think about wind protection and maybe consider a product that integrates both a stand for your pot as well as wind protection. Maybe the Firebox Nano, for example. A lot of different options. If you don't mind carrying a little bit of extra weight and gear to have wind protection added to this, it works perfectly well. I have no complaints. What do you guys think? You think it's a great product? You think it's a terrible product? Why do you think those things? Be kind down in the comments. We're a kind community around here. If you think it's great, let us know. If you think it's terrible, let us know. If you have an alternative, something you would use instead, let us know down below, especially if it's something that I have not reviewed on the channel, because I would love to do so. Do me a favor, guys. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up down below. And if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscription button because it really helps spread things across the YouTube algorithm. I will put this we'll fly here. I will put this in the stove playlist. Well over 250 videos in that stove playlist at this point. All kinds of alcohol stoves, gas canister stoves, solid fuel stoves, wood stoves, all kinds of stuff. If you're looking for a stove for any kind of outdoor activity, preparedness, whatever it might be, check out the stove. It's at the very end. I'll leave it up in the cards up here, and you can also usually find it down in the details below this video. As always, guys, I appreciate you checking out the Paleo Hiker MD channel. Stay tuned for more videos soon.